can still see his face, crooked over to the side, eyes closed like a baby sleeping. And I can still see that paint, reminiscent of the kind found in Walgreens aisles during the Halloween season. Breeze and wind drying up the clown face on his skin, big white lips making 90-degree turns around where his real mouth lay, eyes colored in a way that left his real eyes disguised behind white lies and said he was just another nigger that got what he deserved. And I can still see his face, painted like blackface with white paint. I can smell the solvent intertwining with the water and oil while it was drying, even though I would be lying if I said I was there. I can taste drip drops of his African blood being leaked from his body that night. The end of his fight rested on a branch not far away. Billie Holiday called it strange fruit swinging from trees. And another semi-freed slave became a statistical story history books would fail to mention. The abolition delivered the nigger birth control, lynching. And since I got ears listening, let me just say that I know I am a prophet. I am so much more than a poet, but I willingly assumed that title. I was born to write his story so he wouldn't have a forgotten life. The story of cold, windy nights where the howling of the moon didn't shed enough light for him to see his stars. I was born to recite the tales of cars bombing the lives of 21-year-old soldiers and older retired Marines with lost limbs and shrapnel in their arms. I wasn't put here for the oohs and ahs, but if you like what you hear, then shout it out in agreeance, because I can't stop and I won't stop like P. Diddy, making poems unpretty like TLC, mapping out the blueprint like Jay-Z, P to the Izzo, E to the Tizzy. I was birthed under the poetry tree, and its leaves sprinkled me with the fairy dust of words. Morning dew spread across my forehead and baptized me in the name of spoken word. I was sent here from a planet where prose rules and poetry moves 500,000 in its first week's release, climbing billboards to the top, where the term ghostwriter has the same sting as the word nigger being used by a Mississippi racist cop. Spooky, ain't it? I know. I'm a UWO, unidentified writing object, and Bush has my pens tapped in my paper trace, but I don't care because I stay laced in my own creative juices, only stopping to base myself in alphabet soup. Take 2 scoops of this truth and call me in the morning. I deliver facts right off the showroom floor, driving them with my ink like a black Bentley with suicide doors. Material things are all take-backable, but the gem in my head is unretractable. My skull protects my brain so that it can't be stolen. I live my life like truism is golden, and I refuse to let my observations go to waste. Folks come to tour my verbal creations like the taste of Chicago, where every day is the 4th of July. And as long as I continue to bleed the words onto paper, I will be able to make my poems cry. I deposit them into the unused memory on the hard drive and give birth to poetry. And at the drop of my pen or the last stroke of my key, I give light to this world's reflection in mirrored, rhythmical compositions, rhyme, verbal, or read. I am here to speak for you and cry for them. Speak for them and cry for you. And when these tears dry, a new page will be born. I'm bound to poetry's cord, but if you look at your navel, you will see part of me is strung to you like lights on a Christmas tree, because without your breath, I couldn't inhale life to breathe into poetry. My name is poetry, and the words bleed from the syllables of my anatomy in hopes that every tear I cry are 2 tears less that you have to shed. I hope my life brings you the change you desire to be fed, and so I cry for the fallen soldiers and the ghetto heroes, for the baby mamas pulling in zero support, for Darfur, for New Orleans, and for gentrification, and for the parents still waiting on their kids to return home. Hell, I will even cry for drop calls on your cellular phone. My name is poetry, and I cry for you. My name is poetry, and I cry for you. And to each heir of the memories of men like Thomas Shipp, Abraham Smith, and the nameless face with the white paint who left blood on the leaves and roots of U.S. trees, your story will live on through me. My name is poetry, and this is a poem cry for you.